Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back, True Boxing. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So this video today is going to be on the possible news of the Gervonta Davis's possible next fight, which, from what I'm reading, looks like the favorite to land that fight is Gary Russell Jr. And this is the fight I've been calling for since he knocked out Leo Santa Cruz that I think makes the most sense. So, for Gary Russell next between 126 and 130, and even, to be honest, 135 based on makeable fights and fights that can likely happen, because people are getting hung up on Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia or Teofimo Lopez. And people need to understand that those fights aren't fucking realistic right now. They're just not, because of the cross promotion shit, and Top Rank working with the PBC and Mayweather Promotions, or Mayweather Promotions, PBC working with Golden Boy and DAZN. Those are hard fights to make right now. So, I have been sitting here thinking ever since he knocked out Santa Cruz, like, what would make the most sense? And it's either Gary Russell coming to 130, or from what Davis said days ago was his next fight is going to be announced in the next few days. So it could be announced as of today, tomorrow, the next day. It says it's coming up soon. He's going to announce it, and it's not going to be at 130. And I'm like, or 135. And I'm like, there's no way he moves to 140. Just no way. There's no good fights for him at 140. Unless he were to fight his friend Robert Easter, which I doubt he does that. And then Mario Barrios, the WBA regular champion, that's a high-risk fight, and Davis has never fought higher than 135, and that was only once. I don't know how much power he brings up, so I'm like, they got to mean 126, where he originally debuted, but hasn't fought in years. And I'm like, man, that's big right there, because 126 he's coming down. If he comes down to challenge Russell for the title at 126, that's big, So, he came in great shape, though, for the Santa Cruz fight at 130. And if he is really serious, it's only 4 pounds. He's fought there before. I think it's possible he could make 126 too. But I don't know why he would come to 126 when Gary Russell has been talking nothing but shit about coming to 130. Unless he just wants the challenge of being a 3-division world champion. If he wants that kind of challenge, which would make sense. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. But, man, that would be big right there if this fight goes down. Gary Russell's been calling for a big fight. He hasn't had a major fight since Lomachenko. And even then, that wasn't as major because he wasn't that as big of a name. He was a name, but he wasn't a huge name. And Lomachenko was still early on into him being somewhat of a name, So, that's a big matchup right there is what I'm trying to say. And I really hope that it gets made. Whether it's at 126 or 130. The writer that I was reading on BoxingScene.com, I wish I wrote his name down, but he's an asshole. All he did was knock that fight and talk about the wish fights, make-a-wish fights like fucking Lopez or Ryan Garcia, which, hey, I want to see those fights too, guys. But I'm a realistic motherfucker, and I call it like I see it, and I call it like it is. And Gervonta Davis against one of those guys next is not going to happen. But Gary Russell is a great fighter to get in between one of those big fights. It's a good bounce-back fight off of Leo Santa Cruz. And to be honest, it's a good challenge. Gary Russell's a great fucking boxer. He's fast as hell, and it's a good matchup. So people need to show some more love to this fight if it happens. And I really hope it does. And I hope it gets announced very soon. I hope Gervonta Tank Davis against Mr. Gary Russell Jr. happens in the next few months. It would likely be on Showtime pay-per-view. And I think Davis would do good pay-per-view, especially if the PBC backs him up with a good undercard, which they should. So that's it. That's the news on Gervonta Tank Davis versus Gary Russell Jr. possibly being announced soon. If you like it, guys, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. I'm okay with that. Positive or negative comments, anything, I appreciate it. And subscribe to my channel if you dig it, because I would appreciate that too. Any love, any attention, I appreciate. I'm just trying to spit out the facts to you guys. All right, guys. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.